Hi there, welcome back. Well, for the first time, I changed this sticker bump on my on up there on the top of my page, whatever you call it, channel. Yeah. So yeah, I'm done with only Hebrew speakers. I will try to make it like the big sticker, like so you can see it. But anyway, welcome, welcome back, or welcome if it's your first time to my website, to my channel website. I have so many. Mine goes back. My name is Uriel Tamir Thaller. I made this sticker, now t-shirts. Um, I made this sticker back when. Sorry, it's my ex. You know what? Stop for a minute. I have my daughter in the kindergarten, so that's why the phone is on, and that's my ex asking what uh, how she separated in a new year now. She's the senior year in the kindergarten, almost 5. Anyway, back to the sticker. I made this sticker about 13 and a half years ago. Started in Hebrew, and then a year later or so, I started doing it also in English. I translated it. Let me just answer her. So it's sorry for everything. Okay. Sorry for that. Daily errands. The thing is not my sticker. The thing is that this is me. If you've seen it, cool. If you haven't, take a breath. It helps. Um, the thing is that I've been diagnosed about almost 3 years ago with the CPTSD. The thing is, I've been living with it for the past 30 years without diagnosis. The diagnosis came because I became a father, like as I just mentioned. And being a father is the extreme level of emotions everybody knows. And for CPTSD, that's hell. We already live with high emotions. I was just kidding with someone telling her that I already know how 50 years old women live like. I know for many years. I've been like this since I was 10. The emotions like like this. Whoa, whoa. Yesterday evening, a friend came. A friend, not a new friend, not an old friend, but a friend. He came to visit, and I noticed my body start to tingle, like getting ready. And like, what's going on? It's a friend. And it's the same thing I feel when I am about to do this lives. Sorry, my mind is upside down, and so that's why I'm missing words sometimes. The thing is that I notice that every time I'm about to meet, if it's like this, if anyone will see it, or if it's a friend, if it's getting out of my comfort zone, which is my four walls, um, my body immediately, whoa. Even when in 4 o'clock in the morning, I hear your dog barking. It's my mind. CPTSD means, like I said yesterday to someone, is living in a war zone. Period. 24/7 onwards. It's always like. That's why I taught myself to breathe. I noticed that people like it, and that's why I started making them in like. If you see it on website, I put it on all kind of products here. Take it. But the thing is that I was so stuck until I was 28. That's when it's just before it's okay to can breathe came. The change happened by itself. Is the second part, which explains why I can breathe. I need the explanation. I'm a mindy person. Also CPTSD. Um, And I had a problem with CPTSD. Mine goes blank, but it comes back. It comes back. Just a second. The idea is that I noticed. Yeah, I jumped a little bit. Sorry about that. The thing is, I noticed that talking, which had been my dream, I didn't know why, but now I know, um, literally helps me deal with my CPTSD. With my CPTSD, for anyone who doesn't know, some people actually ask me, complex post-trauma stress disorder. It's a bit different than PTSD, which is post-stress trauma disorder, which mostly reflects on one part, like in a car accident, a bomb, kidnap, something very specific. CPTSD is usually when you're a kid, or if you went through some kind of forget the word for a second, like jail in a way. Like if you kept captive with someone or in jail, it's the same thing. And then your mind is kind of broken. My mind is broken since I was at least 10, if not more before. I always looked at it as hell. It is quite a challenge to live with. Um, Yet today I see quite a lot of blessings in it. Uh, I'm always in tune with myself. I have to, which brought me to all my work, all my discoveries about myself, about change. I've been researching change, literally practicing it for the past 30 years since I was 12. I will go along with the lives a bit more, but specifics if anybody is more interested. But I started when 30 years ago when I was 12 because I just wanted to get to prepare myself to the point that maybe there won't be any sugar in the world. Literally, not a joke. Literally, I had a fear in my mind that was, what if there would be no more sugar? That changed. That tiny little change. I'd only changed a teaspoon of sugar from 3 to 2 because I had to prepare. CPTSD. Um, so I had to prepare. So I went to the room of my sister and I dropped one teaspoon of sugar. But the thing is, I mentioned that part many times. The idea is that that tiny little change, um, completely changed my life from A to Z, completely. It took a while. Yeah, it took a while. And lately I understood that it's already known. I literally, by mistake, completely uh, jumped on, like we say in Hebrew, a known, familiar, how do you call it, method? It's called, if I remember in English, the method of 1%. If you separate anything into as many pieces as you can, literally break everything apart, and you improve with tiny little bit every little one of them, tiny bit. I mean, a really tiny bit. The next step, nothing big. The next step, maybe two if you get lucky. And then you put everything together. Ba-dam! If you want to read about it, read about it. I know if for just an example, it changed my life completely. But if you want a bit more, sophisticated examples, um, there was the English bicycle team who used to be completely mediocre and in the 50s or so. And I don't remember if it was in the 70s or 80s. Don't catch me in the details. I'm really bad at that. But learn yourself. Google, you know. Um, this little method changed their team from mediocre to Olympic and gold medals and on and on and on. If you want more examples, just look for it. I really suck at examples. take it onwards. I always forget details, I miss details, I misplace details. Oopsie, sue me, Sorry. You can always Google. I demand that you Google whatever I say and research whatever I say inwards because, Google doesn't know anything about it. And don't agree with anything I say. Please. Like, I beg you, don't. I tell you this because I never did. Since I was 6, I literally don't trust anyone. And today, I don't. I tried to trust. I trusted and trusted and trusted and was disappointed so many times. But there was literally, like I was saying, I was broken from a very, very early age. And this distrust in others brought me to look inside and to find what I can do with my life. And people call me brave, and I look very with full self-esteem and blah 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 blah. And I literally say blah 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 because I'm not. I'm not brave. I'm self-esteem. Yeah, okay. I have more than I used to. When I was 12 or 13, I used to joke that no, I'm joking about that age actually. That if you would say that my self-esteem is towards zero, it's actually upwards. I had none. I had nothing to speak of. And I was about to kill myself when I was 13. I told people that I'm about to, and that's what people, they changed my schools, blah blah blah, and tried to save me. And when I was 16, 16 and a half, I just didn't say anything to anyone. And for 2 weeks, I was pretty much the only 2 weeks I considered myself dead because I was out there. The only thing that kept me alive was the question how to do it, whether jumping or getting the gun. I was living in a kibbutz who is filled with guns. Um, and the other thing was, now that I think about it, it's two friends. One was living in my building, and she gave me The Alchemist just in the middle of the 2 weeks, a book that changed my life completely. And the other guy that just without knowing, no one knew, I didn't say anything. He just kept talking to me and literally kind of pulled me on like above water. And after those 2 weeks, I decided to stay just to see if I can change this, to see if okay, people suffer. I don't like it. I don't like suffering. How do I live without it? And to end really, 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 really long research, 25 years, it's your choice. Literally, I'm living with shit on my back. Sorry for the bad language, but it's that how it feels. I wake up in the morning, I have no idea what I want to eat. I literally have no idea. I really have to, and that's why I don't. I have bread and butter. I just make it like this. So I don't have to think. I have a complete routine because it takes me an hour and a half to. Where am I? Like literally to download myself. Every just to give an example, another example. If I like get really excited about some food, like, oh yeah, I love this. Yeah, I'm gonna buy this. Yeah, I love it. Great. After a week, oh, after 2 weeks, gone. I can't see it. This is me. I'm always in constant change. Always. I am. That's why I made this. So people remind me that I can breathe because it's very, very hard at that point. Like I get so I have to remind myself. My daughter literally she wanted so many stickers on her t-shirts that now I bought her own t-shirt so she stopped begging. But that's why I have my sticker all over my window, my doors, everything on my refrigerator because she just wanted to put it. But now I have a reminder to breathe like from all over, which for me it literally helps. But actually, I've been told that that kind of cancels what I've been saying, and I'm not canceling that. So let's say, and yet this is what not what I'm talking about. not what I wanted to talk about, not the breathing. But the thing is, I always have a dilemma. I really, really love talk and to talk about what I find, and to talk about my experience, about my research. And I always wanted to make it as good and as most interesting and as most exact, and something that anyone will be able to learn from and take it for their life. That was my aim. I remember 20 years ago saying to myself, I'm going to live a life worth talking about so I can talk about it. And I did. Anyone who talks to me pretty much on the third story is like, how many lives did you live? And like, are you kidding? I didn't start. It happens a lot. Um, yeah, you'll hear about it. Don't worry. With time. The idea is that I never talked since I was 6. And that's what pretty much brought the trauma. Because the trauma is having a bigger experience than what I can handle without having anyone for help. And it was my decision when I was 6 because I went to my mom. I think I talked about it in one of my English lives. I went to my mom because some kids bothered me, but then my own teacher. It's a long story. Anyway, it only became worse, really, really worse. From just a couple of them, it became just full on fire. So I say like, oh, I'm not asking for help from anyone from anymore, like anymore. I'm dealing with this on my own, and let's see what happens. It's literally a miracle I lived. I slowly comprehend it. Um, and just today, this morning, I was asking myself. It's always kind of like asking a question and answers because it's my dream to talk. So I'm always practicing. And I was asking myself, so how do you do it? What happens if someone asks you, so how do you do it? Because it's always changed for me, like because everything changes. So I changed myself, and I went through so many different kind of ways of life to find myself, um, to find my keys, to find my whatever you want to talk about, tell it, to call it. And the thing is that I simply wanted it and just never let go. I wanted, and I still do. It's always a practice. I wanted to get to know myself. I wanted to find peace, some kind of peace. So for me, it was to find something to give the world. Gave it. 14 years later, this is 14 years old. Um, Still, the peace didn't come. The mind is like still searching, still searching, still searching. And then I came out of my third or maybe fourth deep depression. It ended end of January or end of February, actually. Six months now. Cool. And I came to my own realizations. I'll talk about it later or some other time. And I managed to snap out of it again. It was my first time. They say that the first is a fluke, the second is coincidence, the third is a pattern. I think if the fourth you can talk about it. Fourth, deep depressions. Yeah. And they say that I don't have, diplomas. Hey, 4 depressions. The thing is that what causes me depression is me wanting to be there and not being able to get there. This frustration of the emotions are just too high, and then my mind is depression, just shut down. Like I've been like as a father now. It was like for the last 3 years. It's a single father, uh, breakup, ugly breakup. Like um, learning I have CPTSD, dealing with people that really have no idea what CPTSD is. It's all in the head, and more and more and more. So my mind went through bombs and bombs and bombs of emotions, which literally, Yeah, that was hard. Last year, it was September. I told my psychotherapist, thank God was someone was there. Um, but I told him that if I wouldn't know what I know, I wouldn't survive. And what I know is that my all four exercises, and just because I keep mentioning it, I'll just tell them. I just found that I have four exercises that I can always do because I'm always doing it. And all I have to do is just become aware of it. And those four exercises literally helped me connect with myself, feel myself, see that it's perfectly fine, and to get out of this cloud of worries that we always have. So the key to, or the four keys that I find to out of suffering is for, out of suffering. The key is to step out of this. The suffering is here. Suffering is wanting to be here and want to be here and being here. This is suffering. Get this out, and you're not suffering. You're at peace. You're in love. You're fun. Yeah, you look at your life. Mostly, you have enough to be grateful for than most. If you can watch this, definitely. Um, so the thing is that suffering is that being here and want to be here. This is suffering. When I step out of it, I'm not suffering. I'm having fun. It's great. So my four exercises, and the four exercises that you can also do because you are already doing it, is change the possibility of change, the ability to change. Sorry, you have the ability to change. Let's say you change your T-shirt this morning. Cool, you can. The ability to feel. I'm sure you feel an emotion here and there, even if you try to run away from it. I Let me say, okay, you know what? In a moment, I'll work on the exercises. But these are the abilities: ability to change, ability to feel emotions, the ability to be curious. If you weren't curious, you won't be alive. You won't be able to, like, why are they talking on? Why are they walking on two? You would probably walk on four by now if you won't be curious. And the ability to breathe. Well, you figure that out, yeah. But that's a given, yeah. So you have four abilities. Very easy, right? You're doing three of them before you are born. You change because you grow from a tiny little microscope thing to a kid. You feel emotions because, well, you feel, and fetus have been photographed and pictured to be known as curious as well. We only start breathing when we're out. Well, slow learners. What can we do? So the idea is this: you have four abilities, very fun abilities. In each one of them can connect you directly to yourself. I divided them to two kinds of exercises. We call it in Hebrew the dry exercises and the wet exercises. Life. So the dry is like you go to a workshop, your own private workshop. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to move anywhere. You can be at your own place. I practice most of my life at my own place. I move from my place to my one place. I leave places like it, but I always had an area, my safe zone. Um, and the thing is this: first, like I told you, like this little changes, this tiny little one that I told you, the teaspoon. Just to give you like a short example, from that one, I was thought like, okay, what can I change? And I saw that I started noticing girls, 12. And I looked at them, but when they looked at me, I was became red. So I just thought like, okay, how do I do it? So I said like, hold on for half a second. You're already embarrassed anyway. Hold on. So I held on. Now I'm picky, literally picky. And it takes a while, to get my attention. So it took me 2 years, this little part. But the thing is that 2 years later, I managed to look at a girl. I cut it short now because it's too old now to talk about it. Um, I managed to. The thing is that I talked about it too much. I had enough. Sorry. I managed to look at a girl who dropped her eyes 2 years later. Now, this tiny little change gave me another thought, like, oh, what else can I change? And I was 14, yeah, whatever, 14. Um, I wanted to go to Kiryat Shmona. It's the next town. It's 5 minutes drive. I've been there who knows how many times. But it was my first time, and I was scared. When I was 16, just before my first impression, 16 and a half, I flew to New York on my own, then to Boston. Then from Providence, I took no, yeah, a train through New York to Baltimore, or maybe I changed trains, I don't know. Anyway, I was only 16 and a half, and I mean, it was a kid that 2 years before was scared to go to a town 5 minutes far, that he was already been there. Tiny changes, guys, you have no idea what happens. I'll give you a very short. The thing is that every time you change, your awareness, your attention grows. Anytime, because it's like the egg and the chicken. Doesn't matter what you do, the other one comes. If you change something, you pay attention. If you pay attention to anything, it will change. Period. Um, and the thing is that when you do changes that we call it little, like little changes that are small for you, tiny changes. I mean, how do you steer your coffee? This is not a coffee, by the way. Another one of my changes. I call it funny coffee. Um, how do you steer it? How do you steer the sugar? You see my hands? I didn't have to think about it. When I want to change, I just go like this. It's different. I have to think about. I have to pay attention. Like, okay, it's a bit different. I'm out of my automatic zone. Those little changes is the reason people call me brave. Because the thing is that every now and then you do these little changes and your awareness grows and grows and grows. And the thing is that you also get to know different parts of yourself because this is me and this is also me. If I'm in the shower, this is me in the start. Oh, maybe let's start with this. Oh, this is also me. I get to know myself. And every tiny little drop improves my self esteem because the more you know yourself, you trust yourself. Simple. Changes. Emotions pretty much works the same. I call it invite your emotions for coffee or tea, whatever you want. No, I don't drink barely coffee now. Whatever you drink, invite it. You know, whatever emotion you feel, tell it. Okay, sit down. Okay, you're here. The thing is that in our society, and I've learned it myself, just to tell you, when I was 24, I was first aware that I was disconnected from my emotions. I was in a rebirthing workshop in Australia, crying. I can't feel. And it was then I was like, wow, I didn't know I'm feeling. I was complete, and that was after 12 years of practice. Yes, I was completely disconnected, so in the mind. But since then, like I worked hard on my emotions. Not hard. Now it's with fun. But I literally constantly hear music because it always triggers my emotions, and it's always a practice to remind myself and my mind, hey, it's emotions. Hey, it's only fear. Hey, you're angry. It's okay. Because one of the problems with CPTSD is that when we feel, it's like you turn the gas, like wow. It can be scary. It can be scary, and that's why I thought it's not the emotion, the the reaction of the mind. It's not the emotion. The emotion can be I was angry because my daughter did something, walk between my legs because stop, you know, something that bugs me. But if I don't control it, my mind goes and it can be really angry really fast. And that's PTSD. The emotions they're free there. They're very live. It's always fluid. It's never really concrete. And the only concrete thing is that's why I went to workshops and looked for my, what can I lean on. So as a break between the exercises, I can lean on two things: either myself or change. Either way you call it, it's the same for me. Um, the self is inside, the change is outside. But the thing is that change happens all the time. It's constant. It's trustful. I told you I can't trust anything. I can trust change. I know for certain, without a doubt, it will be tomorrow or in an hour or the next month. I can't say about anything else. I can't. I can be myself. No, I know that it's there. That I know I can continue to control to go back to it. So the other two exercises, if you go on live, those the first two exercises fun. You can put headphones, put music at your house, do little changes on your way to work or the shower or whatever how you dress, on your own time. But life don't really ask us questions. They here goes, boom, timber. Um, you never know where it comes. You can, like they say, the something song, it lands you on a perfect Tuesday. You never know. And because of that, I have to get ready. I figured out two exercises I can do literally live in any mode. It doesn't matter if I'm with my daughter, if I'm with myself, if I'm with a friend, or outside of the house. Maybe a group of people, which is no fun for me. Um, so yeah, I looked for something I can do, immediately. Something I can tell my mind go. Otherwise, my mind goes with the emotions. Ah! No fun. So the two exercises, like I said before, works on the ability to be curious, to ask questions, or to breathe. Now, as a CPTSD veteran, I can tell you that at some points you literally have no power. You literally like this. You're out. The breathing part is about that. Momento. When you do have that power, when you do get off your mind fucks, I know. Um, can you ask questions? I'm sure you can because it's in our blood. It's in our genes, in our being human. It's pretty much what makes us human. One of the things because we look at things and like, hmm, how do I make it better? Some more than others. Yes, I've been told by my daughter that she's curious like 4 or 5 kids by a psychologist. I'm like, yeah, I know, she's my daughter. Duh. Um, I can't stop learning. When I left school, when I was 16 and a half, just before my depression, just before my trip to the United States, um, I started learning. And literally, if I can't learn, if I'm not learning anything, I can't even think of a moment like that. It's always like information, always, always. Sometimes with books, sometimes with videos, sometimes with something, or with mostly with life. And the awareness always like this, like like a moon, looking, observing. What can I learn? What can I learn? What can I learn? What can I learn? And I mean 24/7, guys. This is how I live. So the breathing part is about that. So I can first of all relax and go through my hard, flat zones. But when I have the power, like now, I like to be curious. Always like to be curious, but now I have the power. Um, and the idea is that you can use, I've, Byron Katie. I know the Hebrew name is Love What Is, I think. I don't know if it's the exact translation. And she's an amazing therapist, and she came up with 4 questions that completely transform a person's life. And if you like, go for it. I find because of my CPTSD, I literally can't remember daddy too. Literally, I can't. The first two is, are you sure? The second is, are you really sure about whatever you think? And those two are enough for me because for me, it's like, zone, okay, perspective, are you sure? But those are only 2 questions or one, whatever. I let myself, because of my CPTSD, I always, it's something I don't like, like with food, I don't like to use the same thing. I always go like this with tools, with questions. And I notice in curiosity, the question is not what matters for me. You can check for yourself. Maybe you have more or less. What's more important is to, first of all, how you ask. There's a difference with, why does it happen to me? Or, I wonder why does it happen to me all the time? Do you see the difference? And you can add, like, I'm curious. The thing is, curiosity comes, from this energy of kids. Like, I wonder, what else can I do? One of the top questions for me is like, what else can I do? Maybe to talk to someone, maybe I can do something. Just before talking to you today, I just changed the top of the sticker because it was always in Hebrew. And so, like, enough with that. And I know it came only with the change up by itself. I'm really kind of, don't know, the tech world is not my world. Sometimes it works, most times doesn't. I'll work on it. The thing is, the idea is stay curious. Literally, you can change traffic jams. I'm not kidding. I did that. I literally did that. It physically. You know what I did? What does he have next to his wheel? Why does he go away? Suddenly, oops, everybody's driving. It's always like this because when you want something, it affects the physical world. Because if you want something, it means the world doesn't have it. If you want to look something, you can't look at it. Check it out. It's a fun exercise. But if it's not that, ask questions. Any question you want, anything. Just add the kids' energy. Like, I wonder. Or, you know what? When I was in Australia, just literally 2 days, or maybe the next morning when I came there, like I was there for 6 months when I was 24, and I immediately landed in some kind of community. I would say a small community because my friends who picked me up belonged there. And the next morning, I was just walking, just to see, and then came a guy who came to me and said, "Careful, ponder." And I remember looking at him like, "Yeah." And this sentence, "Careful, ponder," take it. It's such an amazing sentence. Just ponder stuff, look at stuff, be curious. It doesn't matter what. If it's the hard stuff, leave it. You don't have to do the hard stuff. Wait for the workshops, wait for someone to help you guide through them, or wait for your own self-esteem and your own tools. With time, I've learned to go through depths that no workshop would help, like the past 3 years. No workshop would do that. Maybe, but yeah, maybe the one in Australia. Yeah, and luckily in the past week I talked to my Australian workshop guide, Nemi Nas. I wanted to talk about her because if you ever want to work on traumas, Nemi Nas, she works on peak states, but I got to know her through reversing work. Kyla Maru, I think is the name of the farm in Australia. She works with peak states. It's before science. In 10 years, science will talk about it. I already have examples. Science is catching up, but she's working with in depth of cellular level, and I'm about to work with her. I just need the money. It's costly. It doesn't cost that much, by the way. I just really out of cash lately. But she's definitely my next target. So very hard, very high recommendation. The best therapist I ever met in 30 years of therapists. And trust me, I've met them. So many. Best one. I can't wait to get the money for her to work one on one with her. It's like, yay. Um, so yeah, but the thing is, it costs money, right? And the thing is that we don't have it like now. And that's why the four exercises, and I go just the ability to change, the ability to feel emotions, and the ability to ask questions, guys. Be curious. You have it before you are born. Get it? You know it better than your language, better than walking, better than talking, better than anything, better than breathing. It's automatic. All you have to do is look at it. And maybe then, if people will be curious about their own things, there will be less, what do we call in Hebrew, the curious traffic jams. Oh, what happened? And you have a traffic jam of 2 kilometers. They're like, oh, guys, go on then. I'm sure you have it wherever you are, because it's humans. We don't use curiosity, and that's why we waste it on traffic jams and traffic car accidents and terrible things. Like, why? Be curious. It's so much fun, and it lights things up. Now we come to this late ability, breathing. You know, we learned it very late after 9 months of growing. Um, Very important. We do it the first time we are out. Yeah, she's breathing. I hate that. I didn't do it with my daughter. No, immediately she was like in my hands. Very quick. And then the last thing we do. So the thing is, it gotta do something, right? I mean, we're using something from the moment we are born until the end of life. And the reason I've mentioned also Nemi Nas is through her workshops, I've learned the how much and can breathing do, and how far, like I mean, far you go by breathing. I went through a month workshop when she was in the rebirthing, and then 1 week workshop, and then a year later or 6 months, don't remember exactly, and the same workshop of the same 1 week workshop in Poland. It was called Heart Matters. The month workshop was something with consciousness. I don't remember, but it was deep, the deepest ever, the workshop that changed me the most, completely, without a doubt. I mean, the second place, who knows what? It's like in the dust. I know that it's just my mind having to compare, because the workshop was so deep, so life transforming, like literally from A to Z and onwards. And it was all to breathing. Like, and my mind after that was like, huh? Breathing? It took me 4 years to click it. It's okay, you can breathe, or 3.5, whatever. But guys, today and ever since the past 14 years, I've been practicing most of the, well, maybe 6, 7 years, definitely, um, how to change life with breathing and nothing else. Nothing, without operating my mind at all, without questioning even. And I literally make, when you go after a car and you can't, and it drives really slow, and you want to overdrive it, how you call it, and you can't. It's like kind of annoying, right? For me, in the annoyance, this frustration can cause really, really deep agitation. It's no fun feeling it. And so for me, is to drive after slow driver is one of a one third of a hell. Sorry for the sound. It's kindergarten pictures, blah blah blah. But the thing is that it's like really one third of a hell. Like it's got like. "Argh!" So I've learned to breathe literally, and I breathe up with my eyes open. I'm driving, and I just and suddenly like whoop, I have time to pass with my car. And I give another example. It's like my highest and the most extreme and like the weirdest examples, and I tell about it in my workshop, in my not workshop, the lecture. Um, and because the breathing is so powerful. When I was in Berlin about for 4 years, it was like 12 years ago to 8 years ago. But about 10 years ago, I was telling this guy who came to interview me about my work, and I was telling him about how I overrode, I think, my fear of bees. I still feel the fear when it comes. I feel the zzz, but I can override it. I can say, and the moment I stopped fearing it was when I was 16. And I told this guy about how I did it. I'm cutting short because it's too many stories. Already 46 minutes is too long for me. Um, but the thing is, I was telling how I overrode it, and it seems that God or life or whoever wanted to kind of like told me, let's show him. I think he did understand. And he was sitting on my left, and a bee in Berlin, guys. It's not Israel. I barely see bees. Saw bees there, but out of nowhere, the bee came and literally landed here. Oh yeah, I think I told about it. I don't know if it's humor in English, but whatever. And the thing is that I immediately, instinctively, like I closed my eyes because it landed here, and he was here. So immediately said, like, "Do you want me to, take it, like, go make it go away?" And I said, like, "No, no, no," because my immediate response in myself knew is that the moment you disturb a bee, it will sting you just because you disturbed it. So I've learned not to disturb bees. So, and I had it on my hands or stuff like that, but never here. And I immediately said to him, "No, don't disturb, like, don't do anything." And I closed my eyes, and he started walking on my eyes. Yes, guys, I'm not making this up. I still don't believe it happened, but it did. And it walked like this, and I remember beer, like, imagine the day he's here, the fear went to like, and my mind went through, you know what happens when you're afraid? It will sting you. And then it walks, and then he says something, or the beer, whatever, it walks here, and the fear goes back, and like, all inwards, of course, conversation. And it came here, and then it just flew. And I remember coming out of it, I said, like, did that happen? What happened? And he looked at me like, um, and that literally showed me for the thousand times. But I mean, that was so out of the world experience in a way, and like I can't explain it. One of those, and breathing can calm you down in any time, either when you're with your boss, colleagues, friends, your clients, your family, most extremes, feel emotions. What was that? Hey, Abaita! Sorry, dogs in the kindergarten, in my garden. Okay, they're gone. Um, Blah, 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 blah. Never mind. Breathing can help you in so many situations and so many live situations, like live grenades, like you feel you're about to explode. Remember this sentence. Remember it. It's okay. You can breathe. The change happens by itself. Oh, by the way, if you want, it's a bit publication. Sorry, I don't like to do that, but it is what it is. I started because the thing is that in the past 13 and a half years, maybe in the past 3 years less because I was in depression, but so it was 10 and a half years or 10 years before, I published, produced, and sent all over the world in Hebrew and in English 40,000 stickers, plus actually. I don't know how much, maybe 41 already. And with this sentence, and the idea was to create all kind of zones of peace and quiet so people would breathe and be able to change their life in the way they want and to learn how to love themselves in the areas wherever they want, because my areas are my areas and your areas are your areas. So maybe I have no idea what you're going through, right? So but if you're breathing, and so you can know that change happens by itself and you can change your life by loving whatever you're afraid of. um Guys, you have no idea. best best I've looked for 30 years. Well, I've I've been researching change for 30 years. I found this 14 years ago. And in the past 14 years, I've been kind of exploring it and exploring it and exploring it to what is it I'm doing. And the basic is that I take something that I'm afraid of and I'm learning to love it. That's it. And I'm learning to love it by getting to know myself in that area. The more I get to know myself in that area, the more I trust myself in that area, and then it's much easier to love myself in that area. It's literally everything on the tip of the iceberg, like, but you can go backwards and listen to it again. Um, so the basic, learn to know whatever you're scared of. You don't have to go and do it. No, you don't. Maybe at the end, yes. Maybe a part of the deal, yes. But you don't have to jump from the cliff. Not. Don't. Don't. I made a few steps like this, but literally very, very extreme moments. And because I'm CPTSD, I didn't care to die. Until I was 28, I didn't care to die. You don't want to go to those extreme moments, and that's why I found these four elements, these four exercises, which you can do on your own time, on your own way, on your own field, on your own realm, whatever you want to call it. Literally get to know yourself bit by bit, tiny bit by tiny bit, and it transforms. 6 months ago, just after I came out of my depression, maybe 5 months ago, it took a month to breathe a bit. I met a girl, and after a couple of days, I understood that. But the thing is that in those last moments of our relationship, she said something: "If you don't get to know yourself, you get depressed." And I said, like, maybe that explains why I'm laughing so much, because I've been learning myself for the past 30 years. Literally, guys, the more you get to know whatever it is that bugs you, you'll end up laughing about it. There's actually a section in the Judaism, the Breslev, we call them, they call themselves. We're saying that you are laughing at it anyway at the end. Why not take it already? Now, start laughing about it already. That's their way. My way is to go through whatever I'm going through, but at the end of it, this is it. I'm not putting it for the fun. I won't. I can't. If you want to see, go backwards a year or two in my life, see how I look, and you're probably not gonna see me like this. Maybe I was too stoned. It helps. Hey, finally, I'm diagnosed and I have my medicine. Thank God. Work for it. Yeah, cannabis helps. Um, okay, really, not 54 minutes. I hope somebody gets something out of this. I had a good time. and I'm going to back to my life and to put some music and to have fun morning in 2 hours till I pick up my daughter. Cool. Have a great weekend. Have a great life in whatever you're doing. Hold on, CPTSD guys. Hold on, literally, guys. Hold on. I know it's hard. I know. I know. Simplify. Ciao, amigos.